Welcome, friends. Dr. Harry Caritas from the Medicine Revive podcast and blog. And welcome back to another episode. Well, friends, it's Thursday. Thursdays, you know what that means. Thursdays, it's where I typically do an Ask Me Thursday segment where I will answer a question that you have for me. Either it's a question that was given to me from the Facebook group or an email that was sent to me from a colleague or a friend. But I'll also sometimes do a book review or an article that I found useful for you. I also will use this opportunity to talk about resources that I found that will help you. So if you're new to this episode, new to this program, you may be wondering what's this all about. Well, as I said, I'm Dr. Harry Caritas. I'm an emergency physician who is here to help you get through the process of burnout, as many of you are struggling with, as I did as well too. And this is where I offer you, tips and resources and tactics and habits that will help you get through this time in your career and in your life, because I want to have you create a curriculum for yourself so you can create the life that you've wanted personally and professionally. And what I've realized is I was going through my burnout is what I needed is really just some resources and tactics. Because I love medicine. I still love medicine, but I just need something and some things to help me. I just needed a plan. And that's where I'm here to help you. I'm here to coach you. I'm here to mentor you through that. But what I've also realized is in order to get through this stage in your career, in your life, in your personal, your professional life, you need community and you need resources. And that's where I'm here to help. The community comes in with you. The community comes in, folks such as yourself who joined the Facebook group and of Medicine Revive. It's the Medicine Revive Facebook group, and there's a link in the a blog post that accompanies this podcast. If you want to join, you're welcome to join. But again, listening to these podcasts and reading the blogs will help you get you closer to where you need to be. So that's what we're all about. But today, what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to be talking about something that is so important in medicine, but we fail to do it, and that is slowing down. Why is it so hard for us to slow down? And well, we know this. We intuitively know why it's so hard for us to slow down, because throughout our entire medical school or nursing career, we have been rewarded for achieving more. We've been rewarded for doing more, with doing more than you were expected. You're rewarded for multitasking, which, by the way, we're horrible at doing. We think we're really good at it, especially in our field, in my field of emergency medicine. We think we're stars at it, but the research is very clear on this. We are really horrible at multitasking. But not only that, we really, really struggle with the concept of slowing down, because we're just not comfortable slowing down, because we think when we're slowing down, we're losing. We have this perception of mind that we're slowing down, we are not achieving more, and that is far from it. Actually, the more you slow down, it's almost counterintuitive. The more you slow down, the more you achieve. So what are some things that I've done that helps me quickly slow down as I practice medicine? But what are also some things that I use in my personal life that helps me achieve the wellness that I have achieved, but this is the wellness that I want you to achieve as well. And the first thing that I did is actually did less. Now that may seem so counterintuitive. Well, of course, you do less, you'll slow down. But it's the concept that I want you to understand, but it's actually the practice more so that I want you to understand is how do you do less? Well, I want you to create more white space in your calendar. And you're like, well, great, I would love to do that, Harry, but I simply can't. And ask yourself, actually, you probably can. As many of you know, I work administratively as well. I'm a medical director for my emergency department. So I have clinical responsibilities and I have administrative responsibilities too. So my calendar is full if I let it be. But what I've really become really good at lately is, number one, clearing out my calendar. It's very easy for recurring meetings to keep popping up on your calendar. And you have to ask yourself, am I needed? Am I needed at this meeting? And if the answer is no, well then why must you be at that meeting? Why must you be at that meeting? So clear it off your calendar. Or do I have to be at that event? Again, what happens, especially during now with COVID, is we've gone remote for lots of our meetings. And now all of a sudden meetings start popping up on your calendar and they become recurring meetings. And then all of a sudden your calendar is just filled with recurring meetings that aren't really useful toward helping you achieve your goals, nor the goals of your department, quite honestly. So if you're a leader within your department, ask yourself, is this meeting necessary? And if not, get rid of the meeting. Doesn't mean that stuff doesn't have to happen, stuff doesn't need to get done, but get rid of these meetings to clear out your calendar and have some more white space in your calendar. But along with that is be very comfortable saying no. And I think that's really hard for a lot of us as physicians. We're naturally, and as for nurses too, we are naturally want to be helpers. We naturally want to help people. And in doing so, we think that by saying yes to everything, we're actually helping, but you're really, really not. You're, as you say, stretching yourself very, very thin. So be very comfortable saying no. And it's going to be hard. I get it. It's going to be hard at first, but be very confident and be very sure of yourself that if you don't want to do something, be very clear and say no. Don't put it on your calendar. Make that white space in your calendar. Say no. Because remember, if you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. And far too often for us in medicine, be it as a physician or as a nurse, we are saying no to ourselves, and that's how burnout starts. So be very, very comfortable saying the word no. It's going to be clunky at first, I get it, but be very comfortable doing so. The second thing is I want you to focus more on people rather than things. And again, this is counterintuitive, but I'm trying to show you how to slow down a little bit, because as physicians or nurses, relatively speaking, where we do really well for ourselves financially speaking, we are what's considered a high income earner, if you will. But we have an appetite for a very nice lifestyle. So what happens is we become almost like this rat on a wheel where we're working to support our lifestyle that we've created. And you're saying to yourself, well, why am I working so hard? Because we've created a lifestyle for ourselves that we think that we need. But the reality is what we really need is we need more relationships. We need more time with others. We need more relationships with others. We don't need more things. We need more relationships. So I want you to focus more on people. And actually, this is harder and easier if you can believe it. It's hard because of what's going on right now with our COVID pandemic. We are socially distancing. But that doesn't mean you can't pick up a phone. Pick up a phone. We are very comfortable now using Skype and Zoom. Talk with people. We've become very, very comfortable texting and emailing, but we lose that relationship with people. Focus on people. And I've always encouraged you to surround yourself with successful people, especially people who are farther along on their journey than where you are. And you're going to very, very quickly notice that once you surround yourself with successful and motivated people, things become far less important to them as it is the relationships that they are creating. So a great way to slow down in medicine is to just focus more on the relationships, focus more on people rather than the things, rather than the accumulation of things. Because as you accumulate things, we start working more and struggling more when we don't really need to. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to actually get outside. It's summer here in the States, but if you're listening to this at a time when it's cold outside, I still want you to at least get out there. You're going to notice there's something great about the outdoors. There's a natural aromatherapy, if you will. In Japan, they call this forest bathing. They call this concept of forest bathing. And they've actually done plenty of research on this, but the research is very, very clear that getting yourself outdoors, even 5 or 15 minutes, between 5 and 15 minutes, has such an immense impact on things such as your cortisol levels. It drops your sympathetic system. It increases your parasympathetic system, drops your blood pressure. It drops your heart rate. Again, this research article, which I'll link to in the show notes, can show you all that. But quite honestly, friends, we know this intuitively, right? When you walk through a garden, and I encourage you to have your own garden in the back if you have the ability to, or if you take a hike through a forest if you live near a forest, but just getting yourself outside. There's this natural aromatherapy of the outdoors that it just drops your heart rate. And it's so very important. It helps you just slow down just that little bit. You know, many times I have the benefit of working in the emergency department that the ambulance bay is just 20, 30 feet away from where I typically sit. So it takes no effort at all to just go out there just for about 2 minutes. But many of us don't do that. Many of us don't do that if we're hospital physicians or nurses. Many of us don't take that 5-10 minutes to go just outside and just breathe the air in and just come back at it. It's a great way to slow yourself down. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is that of journaling. Now, I've talked about journaling practically every single interaction I've had with you guys because I cannot tell you the immense impact of it. Here, in fact, here's the journal that I use twice a day with my Arise and my Arise morning ritual and my evening ritual. It's so important to actually get thoughts on paper. And again, I highly encourage you to do this with a pen and a paper rather than doing it online. There's something about writing, something very analog about it, something about writing pen to paper that slows you down. I know many of you are hesitant to start the concept or the process of journaling. And if the blank page scares you, that's totally fine. Start off with something called the 5-minute journal. The 5-minute journal is something I've written about before. And just before I hopped on this podcast, I actually was looking through my library. And for those who are watching, there it is right there. There's the 5-minute journal that I started off on this journey on journaling. It's such a wonderful thing. And I have a journal always by my side, but at work I have a small moleskin journal that I keep in my white coat that I just put thoughts on paper. It just helps me just reset for just a few minutes, and it helps me slow down, which is what I want for you. And the final thing I'm going to tell you and offer you today is to begin the process of meditating. Now, I know many of you are hesitant to start this practice of meditation, and I can only ask for you just to try it. I have found it so incredibly useful. I use the Headspace app, which I've talked to many times, and actually here it is right here on my phone. I use it twice a day. It's part of my morning and my evening ritual. My evening ritual has a 20-minute meditation, and I use the Headspace app to guide me through that meditation. But it is so important for my wellness and helping me get through burnout that I really encourage you to do the same. It has been such a game changer for me. You know, many times I use this after I finish my shift, especially after a busy shift. I can still feel the vibrations in my body because I have all these endorphins and catecholamines rushing through my system. I can still sometimes feel the vibration in my body as I'm getting into my car to drive home. And I know at that time, I just have to sit for about 2 to 3 minutes, put a quick meditation on the Headspace app. And that app has the ability to do a 2-minute meditation. And it just helps me to slow down, reset before I take the drive home. So that's it for today, friends. That's 5 quick tips on how to quickly slow down in the world of medicine, because it's so vitally important. Because if we're always on go, if we're always on fight mode, in the fight or flight mode spectrum, you're just going to burn out far too quick. And that's exactly what I don't want for you. I want you to take the intentional steps to slow down in medicine. And I encourage you to follow the steps that I've given you today, but also encourage you to join the community, join the free Medicine Revive Facebook group community, where you can collaborate with other fellow physicians and nurses who are interested in growing in their wellness personally and professionally. And if you're interested, and if you want something a little bit more, something more tangible, something more tactical, I have a free 3-video series that will get you started on this journey from where you are and where you want to be. It's a good primer to get you started, and you can find that at medicinerevive.com/start. Again, I'll put the link in the show notes, but it's medicinerevive.com/start. And I hope you'll join me on this journey together, because we are in this for the long haul, friends, and I want you to succeed personally and professionally, and I want you to achieve the goals that you've always wanted for yourself. But it takes intent, it takes focus, it takes the want. And if you give me the first, I'll give you the second. I'll mentor you through this, and we'll go through this together. Until next time, be good to yourself and each other. We'll talk again soon.